शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नाम्ने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकालिने। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, we welcome you and thank you so much for joining. Actually, it's very nice of you to still stay on board in the course. This course is having a lot of gaps, and we don't want that to happen, but somehow that it's happening and it's getting stretched a bit. Today is the 6th day. We'll be covering the 5th chapter in the book, and we have 5-6 weeks more to go to complete the course. So I thank you for being into it still. And today the topic is very interesting, very practical. It's related to relationship and something which we experience in our day-to-day life. I mean, this is an emotion, or this is an interaction which happens with lots of different kinds of people. And the way we respond to that is different based on what the situation is, who the person is. I'm talking about the feeling that one goes through when one is chastised by someone, or someone gets angry on us, or someone gets really mad on us. Then how do we react to that situation or respond to that situation? We all have this experience. I'm sure no one in this room as of now, and those who are watching the video on YouTube or Facebook, would say that throughout my life, I have never shown anger on anyone, or no one has shown anger on me. No one says so. We do have experience of we showing anger on others and others showing anger on us. Right? No one can say that, no, it never happened with me. So what happens? How do we generally respond to such a situation or react? Of course, the way we do will be different in different situations. But how do generally, can we just make a list of it? How do generally people react to that situation when someone is angry on you? What can be the different ways you can react to that situation? What are the possible ways? You can just start mentioning them either in the chat box, you can type, or you can unmute yourself and speak it up.
In a normal situation, somebody might retaliate, Prabhuji. Right?
Okay, so yeah,
not on a spiritual path, they may.
Anyway, just retaliate. Even in spiritual paths, one may retaliate. Who knows? So one may retaliate to such a situation. What else? You can unmute yourself and Chalo. Yeah.
Prabhuji, we can blame others for any.
Blame others. Yeah, very good. It happens. Someone else? Mute, please. Yeah, someone else? Get disturbed. Mother said, yeah, get disturbed. Both lose focus. Okay. Run away from that place. Okay. Yes, Raki Rajpal Mataji. Rajesh Nagpal Mataji.
Prabhuji, we get disturbed and we feel sad that they are not understanding us.
Feel sad, correct. Yeah. Feel not understood by that person. Okay. What else may? Agitated, get hurt. Mind is agitated. Yes, agitated. And not only that, you may shout back. Correct. What else may happen? Anxiety. Please unmute, please. Yes, Annapurna Mataji. You have to again, please unmute yourself.
Prabhuji, in such situations, the person may try to reason it why we are doing it, or we can reason it.
Justify. Yes. Okay, fine. That's all. No other way to people react to such situations.
In the positive, this thing they may accept also.
Yeah. Okay. So we are asking either ways, positive, negative, either way.
Take it positively and accept it and change and do correction.
Accept. Okay. Someone may also, it might be a very sobering experience as well for some people in some situation, right? Person may become thoughtful. Person may realize his or her mistake, right? Realize mistake. Sometimes, people, when they are told, then they realize, oh, actually I did a mistake, and they become a bit careful. Yeah. In what other way can people respond to that situation? That's all. Any other way?
Make corrections.
Okay. Go for correction. What else? Or what may happen?
Apologize.
Apologize. Yeah. One may say sorry. Correct. One may say sorry. Yes. One may say sorry. Yeah, yeah, it happens. So avoid talking to that person anymore. Yes, it happens. And what else? There can be, I think, some more ways in people can respond to or react to such situation. Some may even express, in that situation, some may even express gratitude, if not immediately, a bit later. Thank you so much for correcting me. Actually, you brought me back to my senses. I was really doing a big blunder in life. Yeah, someone may express gratitude. Ignore. Oh, yeah, that may too also happen. Ignore. You are non-calent about it. You don't bother at all. Someone is shouting at you. Don't bother at all. Yes. You want to say something more, Raki Mataji?
Yes, we can inquire about the reason for getting angry.
Okay. You may try to inquire in a very calm manner, right? Yeah, like someone is angry on you, and you can even tell to that person that, can you please explain why are you so bad tempered at me at this moment? So you may keep your calm. You may. So that is also possible. So you see, it's very interesting. How do we respond to it will depend on many factors. First of all, who that person is. Right? Isn't it? Correct? Second thing, what was the situation? Third thing, what is my own mood that day? Sometimes if you have a bad mood, and even if that person is correct, you'll shout back. Correct, isn't it? And sometimes if you have a good mood, even if that person is wrong, you may be very calm and peaceful. So a lot depends on your own mood. It depends on all these factors. Who else is present there? How big is the problem? Right? But now all these factors, when we talk about these factors, whether it is on that person or it's on me, it's in the situations, these are all within the condition of three modes of material nature, working because of the action of the three modes, either on me or on that person, right? Or in that situation. Okay. So this is an interaction which is a material interaction. The material modes are pushing in that direction, it's happening. Now we'll be talking about today how in spiritual life, when we come across such moments, when someone gets angry on us, specifically talking about a superior, maybe our spiritual master, our teacher, our guru, our guide, our friend in Krishna consciousness, get angry on us, or some devotee, someone who is our service authority, something like that, gets angry on us or chastises us. How should we take that, and in what should be our response to it? And is it wrong for people to chastise us? Do the spiritualists or devotees of Krishna never show anger? Because anger is a bad quality in one sense, yes. So do they completely stay away from being angry? Some people do think sadhu means, or a saint means, or a spiritualist means you should never have this emotion called anger. You should be free from anger totally. And that's also even recommended in the scriptures. Don't get angry. Krodha is a vega, it's a pushing, so you need to control it. However, we do find so many instances in the scriptures where the Lord gets angry. Lord's very, very exalted devotees get angry. The great Vaishnava acharyas get angry. Now why? If it is a quality or an emotion which is not good, then why those who are perfect exhibit that emotion, that quality? Why? And what is the purpose of that? So let me now ask you another question here. Is anger, or sorry, it's not angry, is anger always born of selfishness, or sometimes it can also be born of selflessness? And if you think it can be born of selflessness, then you give examples of situations where anger can be born of selflessness. Okay. So what is your response to this question?
Krishna getting angry with Arjuna on the battlefield, what we read in verse 2.11, where he says that, even though he's talking wise words, but he's speaking like a
learned person.
And also he calls him a eunuch.
Mm.
And he's speaking like a eunuch. So that is one example.
So the example where Krishna is angry on Arjuna, and definitely not out of selfishness, out of selflessness. Yes. And then another perfect example is mother to child.
Right.
Generally, mother to child. She's not angry out of selfishness. She's actually concerned, right? Isn't it? And yes, anger can be both ways. It can be born of selfishness also. It is also true. And it can be born of selflessness as well. So when you care for someone, it is selfless. That's the perfect way to express it. When you care for someone, when you want good for that person, you wish that person well, then that is selfless anger. The anger is not because that person did not fulfill some of your selfish desire. No, it's not because you want to take something out of that person. It's because you want to give to that person. You wish that person so well, but that person is not taking advantage of it. That person is not very serious about it. That person is not moving ahead in the right direction. So you want to correct that person. You get angry on that person, isn't it? So you can say mother for child. You can say teacher for student, right? You can say the king of the country for the citizen, isn't it? Right? Isn't it? Similarly, you can say the spiritual master for disciple. So here the anger is not because I hate you. That's why I'm expressing my anger on you, right? But the anger is because I love you. I care for you. Isn't it? Correct? So can spiritualists exhibit anger? Yes, they can, right? And in that way, when we understand, we do understand that when such kind of anger is shown to us, the way we're going to respond to that is going to be different. When someone is angry on us out of envy, we have to express differently in that situation, correct? Isn't it? One has to know that what happens is, because of our past experience, bad experience, sometimes we forget, generally we come across mostly people in this world who are very selfish. I mean, it's hard to find selfless people. Everyone in this world is interested in you because they want something out of you. Isn't it? Mostly it is so. Even if they say we are trying to do good to you, in return there is some agenda of getting back something in return, right? But so mostly we think that our interaction with people is based on such emotions, such attitude, thoughts. However, when we come across pure personalities, we should know they are not acting on that platform. And that's why our response to them, in any way they deal with us, should be very thoughtful and very careful. So in this chapter, we'll look at this topic of being chastised by the spiritual master. Now, this is something which some people fear a lot. Why do we fear people correcting us? Because it hurts our ego. Quite natural, isn't it? No one likes to be corrected. It hurts our ego. It brings our image down, and we are proud of our achievements, and it makes us feel small and low. So then we can't take it. And why is that important in spiritual life? I mean, all these experiences, to feel low, to feel that I'm not important. Why is it important in spiritual life? Because then it helps you to less focus on yourself and focus more on Krishna's supremacy. It helps you to remove you from the center of attention and put Krishna in that position. So let's look at this verse from Caitanya Caritamrita, very nice verse. And it explains the actual emotions that go behind such interactions and how they're very helpful in one's spiritual life. Causeless mercy. Aji more bhritya kori angikara kaila yemana aparadha bhrityera yogya phala dila shasti chhale kripa kara etomara karuna trijagate tomara charitra bujhe kaun jana. This is Bengali, Caitanya Caritamrita. So a devotee is talking to Lord Chaitanya, or not Lord Chaitanya, sorry, Lord Nityananda. Shivanand is speaking to Lord Nityananda. And what is he saying? The Lord Nityananda is the original guru. He's actually Lord Balaram. And he's saying, today you have accepted me as your servant and have properly punished me for my offense. My dear Lord, your chastising me is your causeless mercy. Who within the three worlds can understand your real character? So, when we made that list of how a person can react when one is chastised, we mentioned one point was one can express gratitude, isn't it? Here, Shivanand Sen is doing the same thing to Lord Nityananda, that it is your causeless mercy on me that you are chastising me and punishing me. It's your causeless mercy on me, all right? And why do I see that as your causeless mercy? Because you are master, I am servant. And if the master doesn't chastise the servant, then what will the master do? Of course, master is not always chastising. The master will also appreciate, reward, pat on the back, right? But sometimes when needed, the master will also chastise. It's a part of that relationship. It comes in that package together, just like a mother will definitely say to the child, well done, beta, when the child does good, but when the child does wrong, then the mother is going to get angry also. It's a part of that relationship. Both works, right? Both goes together. So he's saying to Lord Nityananda, I'm thanking you for your causeless mercy. Now, we are trying to become devotees of Krishna. So we should also know very well what are the emotions of a devotee. Emotions of a devotee have to be understood. Emotions of a devotee have to be practiced, and emotions of a devotee have to be realized. We are expert at experiencing material emotions, but somehow that we don't have any clue how to experience and relish spiritual emotions, because we have been far away from that since long time. So we don't know. You know, when people, they are not shown love, they many a times stop responding to love. It happens. They become so cold-hearted that it doesn't melt them, even if you show love to them. They stop responding to it because they forget that there is an emotion called love. And how should I respond to it? It happens with people. It does happen, right? Isn't it? Or sometimes people stop responding to some other emotion. It happens. So similarly, because we have been away from spiritual reality for a long time, and this is a truth, a bitter truth, we should know it will take us time for us to even start relating to spiritual emotions, which are very different from material emotions. Very different from material emotions. So in spiritual life, the anger that is shown on us by someone who is really spiritually advanced, we should know that is spiritual anger, right? It's different from material anger. And how we respond to that will define our maturity in our Krishna consciousness. I'll tell you now 2 pastimes. Very interesting. But before I tell you, I want you to identify these pictures, the personalities, and the incident. Okay, so let's see who can identify this one. The first one is tough, the second one is pretty easy, but the first one is tough. This one, how many of you can identify? I mean, you don't have to tell, but you just raise your hand if you can, who this person is and what is this incident. Okay, you can identify Shweta Mataji, very good. Anyone else is able to identify the personality and the incident. Okay, Raki Mataji can identify. Kusum Mataji can identify. Okay, I know this is a tough one, so no problem. If you can't identify, I'll not come to this. I'll take your answer later. Now, who can identify this incident? This is pretty easy, right? And the personality is pretty easy to identify. Okay, only 3 can identify this one. What about others? 4? What about others who are in the meeting? Are they all sleeping? So 𝐾𝐝𝐸 Mataji can identify, Aruna Mataji can identify, Ashok Prabhuji can identify. Okay, Kusum Mataji, Anita Mataji. Very good. So let's go for the second one first. Who are the 3 personalities? I mean, there's so many personalities, but 3 major personalities here. And what is the incident happening? Someone would like to speak it?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam.
Yes, 𝐾𝐝𝐸 Mataji.
Prabhuji is Sri Krishna, Arjun, and Bhishma Dev.
Very good. Okay, Sri Krishna, Arjun, and Bhishma Pitama. And what is happening? Who will
It's
speak
in
about it?
Kurukshetra Yuddha. Bhishma says he will make Krishna to take what you call weapon.
Okay, very good.
He
Yes.
compels in that situation this
Very good.
this
Thank
photo
you.
is. Yes,
Thank
Prabhu. Thank you.
And the previous one is now, who will speak on about this? Who is this personality and what is he doing? Those who had raised their hand earlier. Yes, Shweta Mataji, you want to say?
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam, Prabhuji. He is the Advaita Acharya, if I'm not wrong. He was praying to Shaligram to take a birth. Lord Chaitanya then took a birth. I heard that in lecture. Not, if I'm wrong, then please correct it.
No, very correct. Yeah, totally correct. So this is Lord Advaita Acharya, and he's praying to Shaligram. He's offering Ganga with Tulsi on Shaligram and praying to Shaligram that so much of irreligion is going on. Please, the Lord should descend. And that's where Lord Chaitanya descended, listening to the prayer of Advaita Acharya. Okay. Now here in both the incidents, what we see is there is Bhakta and Bhagavan, devotee and the Supreme Lord. Advaita Acharya is acting as a devotee. Bhishma is also acting as a devotee, right? Now, think about it here. What happens? I'll tell you the story, very interesting. Advaita Acharya is a senior Vaishnava in Vaishnava community. You can see he's an old man, white beard, okay? Very learned, very much respected, and a lot of devotion. At the same time, though he is exhibiting such devotion to the Supreme Lord, he himself is the Supreme Lord. Advaita Acharya was the incarnation of Lord Mahavishnu. Means it is God showing devotion to another form of God. Right? Advaita Acharya is God, Mahavishnu. And he's praying to the Supreme Lord to descend. And because of that, Lord Chaitanya comes. Now, when Lord Chaitanya takes birth, Advaita Acharya with his wife, Sita Thakurani, they visit the house of Lord Chaitanya, bring some gifts for that small little boy. And Advaita Acharya understands this is my Lord. Okay. Now, Lord Chaitanya, as he grows, he is the Supreme Lord, but he sees Advaita Acharya as a very senior personality, someone of the age of his grandfather. So he's always very respectful towards Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya does not like this. He doesn't like that. Why? Because Advaita Acharya is thinking, you are master, I am servant. But you are behaving in a way that I am master and you are servant. This is totally opposite. This is not how it should happen. I should be giving respect to you, not you should be giving respect to me. But the problem was what? Social custom forced Lord Chaitanya, or not forced, Lord Chaitanya was willingly doing it. But because of social custom, Lord Chaitanya was behaving as if I'm younger, I'm junior, you are senior, I should respect you. And Lord Advaita Acharya is thinking, but the truth is you are master, I am servant. How can you show respect to me? I should be respecting you. So one day Advaita Acharya was fed up that too much of respect is coming and I'm not able to show any respect towards the Lord. So he thought, what can I do so that Lord Chaitanya will show everyone here, I am servant and he is the master. I want to prove my servitude to the people here that I am servant, he is master. So he starts speaking the philosophy of Mayavad, the impersonal school. He starts teaching that to people. And when Lord Chaitanya hears about it, he gets really angry that how come Advaita Acharya, who is a Vaishnava Shiromani, the crystal of Vaishnavas, talking about impersonal philosophy? This is a crime for the Vaishnava. So he rushes to the house of Advaita Acharya and starts beating him badly. Now he's an old man and he starts beating him badly. At that time, Sita Thakurani comes running out and she says, please, 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 he's an old man, he'll die. Don't beat him so badly. Leave him alone. And Chaitanya is really, really angry and Advaita is joyfully accepting those beatings. And after Lord Chaitanya stops, Advaita Acharya jumps up and down and is dancing that today I have proven you are master, I am servant. Because you showed your anger on me. And you can show your anger on whom? Only on that person who is actually junior to you, not someone who is senior to you. So he said, you have shown anger on me. In this way, you have proved that you are the master, I am the servant. So basically, actually, when we accept servitude under someone, we will feel joy when that person chastises us, when that person is angry on us. And if we don't accept servitude, then it will be very painful to us. We'll not be able to accept it. Our heart will not accept it. The mind will say, who are you to talk to me like that? Isn't it? Right? Who are you to speak to me like that? We won't give that person that adhikar, the right to do it. But if you love someone, you give that person that right. Yes, you can do it. You can do it to me. So a disciple will allow that to the spiritual master because the disciple knows my spiritual master is, after all, interested in my welfare. So why should I not allow him to do that? Isn't it? Next incident. Bhishma Pitamaha, what happened actually? He was fighting furiously. For 10 days, it was so difficult to bring him down. Actually, in Mahabharata, the 18 days of war, for first 10 days, Bhishma Pitamaha was the commander-in-chief on the side of the Kauravas. And he was not getting defeated. I mean, it was totally impossible for anyone to face him and defeat him. And he was, shooting arrows and killing people in thousands. Just like, have you seen, I don't know, all live in city. So if you happen to go to a village and you see people harvesting crops, so sometimes they have these machines through which they just go and for such long distance, they will cut all the crops in very short period of time. So Bhishma Pitama was in this way uprooting people, from the battlefield. I mean, he was really clearing the ground. He was fighting so fiercely. And still Duryodhana was not happy. Duryodhana was saying, what are you doing? 10 days, not even one Pandava is dead. And you claim to be a great fighter. So Bhishma, he thought this fellow is crazy. I mean, nothing can satisfy him. Some people are like that. Nothing can satisfy him. So I am fighting for him. I'm really going against my will. I am fighting against the Pandavas, but still this fellow is finding fault with me and said, okay, so tomorrow I am going to really, really kill those 5 Pandavas. And Duryodhana said, how? These 5 arrows. Right? These 5 arrows, they are special, invested with a lot of potency of mantras. So these 5 arrows I'm going to use on 5 Pandavas. You know the story. Duryodhana said, give those 5 arrows to me. Maybe your mind will change. Give them to me. Tomorrow I'll give that back to you. So Duryodhana took those 5 arrows from Bhishma and took that to his own tent. I'll keep with me safely. And Krishna knows everything. He's the master player. So he told Arjuna, once Duryodhana made you a promise, and that anytime you need something, you ask me, I'll give. This happened when Arjuna protected Duryodhana's life. So Duryodhana had made this promise. So Krishna told Arjuna, today is the day. Go ask him. And Arjuna said, what? You just ask those 5 arrows. Arjuna said, which 5 arrows? You ask 5 arrows. He'll understand which 5 arrows, So he went there and he told Duryodhana, went into the tent. Duryodhana was an elder brother of Arjuna, actually. He was same age as Bhima. So Arjuna was younger to Duryodhana. So Duryodhana saw Arjuna. He welcomed him as a younger brother and said, Arjuna, what brings you here? Arjuna said, brother, I want those 5 arrows. And Duryodhana then asked, okay, I'll give you, no worries. You take those 5 arrows. But may I know, how do you know about them? And then Arjuna said, Krishna told me. And Duryodhana, at that moment, you can imagine what was going through this person. This Krishna, how to deal with this person, Krishna, he is spoiling all our plans. So Duryodhana gave those 5 arrows and Arjuna brought them back. When Bhishma Pitama came to know about it, he got very angry. Externally he got very angry. Internally, he was very happy. Look at Krishna, he's so eager to protect his devotees. Arjuna is devotee. Bhishma Pitama knows that. So Bhishma thought, if Arjuna is devotee, the world should know that I am also his devotee. I am also his servant. As Arjuna is his servant, I am also his servant. Till now, I have never been able to openly express my devotion to Krishna because of my social position. I am on the enemy's side. So I was never able to openly express my servitude to Krishna. And Krishna even respected Bhishma because Krishna again follows the customs. Bhishma is elderly, so Krishna used to offer pranams to Bhishma. And Bhishma would feel very sad that how the Lord and Master is offering me respect. I should be offering him respect. So he decided, tomorrow I want to show to the world that he is the master, I am the servant. So that's why he took that vow. Not that he was angry on Krishna. The external reason for taking that vow is, oh, Bhishma get really, really fed up and he was angry on Krishna that you have to break your vow. No, actually the internal reason was Bhishma wanted to show he's the master, I am the servant. So Bhishma fought fiercely on that day and Arjuna was not able to face the arrows. Srila Prabhupada writes a beautiful commentary to this whole episode in Srimad Bhagavatam. You can read it later, first canto, chapter 9. He puts a question. He raises a question. How can Arjuna get defeated in the presence of Krishna? Of course, Bhishma is a pure devotee, but Arjuna is a dear friend of Krishna. And Krishna told Arjuna, I'll protect you, he promised. So how is it possible that someone can really, really defeat Arjuna in the presence of Krishna? It's not possible. Arjuna got defeated because Krishna wanted Arjuna to get defeated. And Krishna wanted Arjuna to get defeated so that Krishna can actually show the world, Bhishma is my servant. Because Bhishma wanted that to happen, So Krishna let Arjuna not fight that well that day. And when Arjuna started getting defeated, then Krishna came down from the chariot, he picked up the wheel, and he started running towards Bhishma to throw that wheel on Bhishma Pitama and, in that way, bring him down. And at that very moment, Bhishma Pitama left his bow, put the arrow aside, and he folded his palms and he said, thank you. Today, now you have proven, I am servant, you are master. You're proven, and I'm very happy about it. So what point we are trying to make here from both the stories is, the servant takes pride in getting punished, chastised from the master. When the love is very thick, and when that love is not thick, it is shallow, then it hurts the ego. Right? It hurts the ego. So we have to work on our relationship in such a way that that love becomes really, really thick, so that when we are chastised by a Vaishnava, a devotee, by our Guru, we don't feel bad. That will show our actual intimacy in our relationship with the spiritual master. And that's what is explained in this whole story, chapter 5. This story is very interesting again. Lots of deep lessons in it. It's a story between Raghunath Das Goswami and Lord Nityananda. I don't know if you have read the story, the whole chapter. If you did, you know it. If you didn't, we'll tell in brief. Actually, this story is so well written, I thought I'll just read it out from the book itself. I'll share the screen and read it out from the book itself. A very good story, very beautiful. It had almost become a daily affair. Every day, Raghunath, I'm just making it big enough. Every day, Raghunath Das, the fortunate son of a multi-millionaire, would attempt to run away from his home at night to go and meet the Lord of his life, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Having burnt all material desires to ashes, the only desire Raghunath Das entertained was to renounce everything, to be fully absorbed in the highest service, the service to God. As he was fixed in his resolve to escape from family life, his parents were equally determined to keep him back. Every time he managed to escape, he was brought back home by his father. Worried for his safety, Raghunath's mother spoke to her husband. It seems our son has gone mad. Why is he behaving like this? I suggest that you keep him here bound by ropes. Govardhan Majumdar, Raghunath's father, was very unhappy and dejected. He replied back, our son has opulence like that of the king of the heavens, and his wife is as beautiful as an angel. If these strongest of the ropes cannot keep him bound, then what can the other ropes do? After thinking about it for a while, he said, it seems that Lord Chaitanya has bestowed his complete mercy on his boy. Who can stop one who has been favored by the Supreme Lord himself? Having failed to escape from family life over and over again, Raghunath Das then considered something in his mind. The next day he went to see Lord Nityananda, who is in a nearby village named Panihati. The Lord had come there on the bank of the Ganges, accompanied by many devotees. Sitting on a rock under a tree, he seemed as effulgent as hundreds and thousands of rising suns. At the first sight of the Lord from a distant place, Raghunath Das offered his obeisances by falling prostrate. He was noticed by the Lord, who said, "You are a thief. Now you have come to see me. Come here, today I shall punish you." Raghunath Das hesitated to go near the Lord. This annoyed the Lord, who forcibly caught Raghunath Das and placed his lotus feet upon his head. The Lord then spoke, "You are just like a thief. Now that I have captured you, I shall punish you." Instructing Raghunath Das further, the Lord said, "Have a festival and feed all my associates yogurt and chipped rice." On hearing this from the Lord, Raghunath Das became greatly pleased. What ensued was a mega festival. In no time, all the necessary arrangements were made. So many people participated that no one was able to count how many people were there. Whoever came was given 2 earthen pots of chipped rice, one soaked in yogurt and the other soaked in condensed milk. This is famously known as Panihati Chura Dahi festival. Wherever the eyes could go, one would see people savoring the feast. Due to lack of space, some people even entered the river water, and standing in waist deep, they enjoyed the nectarian chipped rice preparations. The festival brought great joy to Lord Nityananda and his devotees. Seeing them satisfied, Raghunath Das himself felt immense pleasure. Now that he obtained the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he would be able to make the escape from the entanglement of family life once and for all. The gateway to the intimate service of Lord Chaitanya had finally opened for him. So very beautiful story from Caitanya Caritamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat. This is the scene actually described in the story. Lord Nityananda is sitting, is effulgent, and you can see he's placing his lotus feet on the head of a person lying on the floor, and that is Raghunath Das. Okay. Now, who is Raghunath Das? He later on became one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And we should know, of all the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Raghunath Das Goswami exhibited the highest level of realization in Krishna consciousness. Of course, the other 6 Goswamis were no less, but they all were given different missions by the Supreme Lord. And Raghunath Das was given the mission to preach the highest possible teachings and realizations in Krishna consciousness. Out of topic I am speaking, but just to add to this. In the spiritual world, Lord Krishna, of course, has many gopi associates, but of them the most dear is Srimati Radharani, Sri Radha. Srimati Radharani has many friends, assistants, servants, but of them Lalita and Vishakha are most close to her. Lalita and Vishakha. Lalita is of a different nature, Vishakha is of a different nature. Vishakha is soft, Lalita is hot, very hot, in the sense she gets angry quickly and she gets angry on everyone. She has the right even to get angry on Krishna. More than that, she can also get angry on Radha. That's her role. So she is that kind of friend. And Vishakha is a very soft, mild, gentle. Now, Lalita Sakhi has 3 assistants. 3 assistants in the spiritual world. 3 assistants. One is Tulasi Manjari. Okay. Then another is Rupa Manjari. And the third is Kamala Manjari. 3 assistants. Rupa Manjari, Kamala Manjari, Tulasi Manjari. So that Rupa Manjari is Rupa Goswami. that Kamala Manjari is Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and the Tulasi Manjari is Raghunath Das Goswami. So I just wanted to share to let know how the position is so exalted in Krishna's pastimes or Krishna's abode, very, very intimately related to Lord Krishna. So Raghunath Das Goswami is not an ordinary soul. He has come here to exhibit all these pastimes to teach us lessons. Now, what lesson is he teaching through this pastime? It's a beautiful story, and Maharaj, he covers wonderful lessons on this story in the book. I'm not taking all the lessons. I'm just going to focus on a few points, which is the topic for today's discussion, right? So the first lesson we learn here is Guru has the key. You see, Lord, it's not written in CC, what I mentioned. So the Lord here told Raghunath Das, Lord Nityananda, you are a thief. Now, why did he say that you are a thief? Was Raghunath stealing money? No, Raghunath was very rich, filthy rich actually. Govardhan Majumdar and Hiranmaya Majumdar, if you read about Raghunath Das Goswami's life in the book Six Goswamis of Vrindavan, wonderful book written by Satyaraj Prabhu, you will come to know they were filthy rich people. I mean, the amount of money they had, even the most rich person now at present cannot have so much of money. They were that rich. Govardhan Majumdar and Hiranmaya Majumdar, the father and uncle of Raghunath Das Goswami, they were so rich. So Raghunath Das Goswami, what was he trying to steal? And Lord Nityananda said, you are a thief, I have to punish you. Raghunath Das, every time he would try to escape from his house and go and meet Lord Chaitanya, he would like to, or he would try to directly go to Lord Chaitanya. Directly approach Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Nityananda was trying to tell him through that statement, you cannot get God without getting through the devotees of God. You cannot acquire God or attain God without going through the channel of Krishna's devotees. So if someone tries to get something which you possess without taking your permission, then that person is called a thief. So Lord Nityananda is saying, you are trying to possess God without asking the permission from those who own God. And who owns the God? Who owns the Supreme Lord? The devotees own the Supreme Lord. Krishna and his love is not Krishna's property. Krishna and his love is the property of his devotees. That's why in Sanskrit Krishna is called Prema Vishaya and the devotees are called Prema Ashraya. Krishna is the object of love and devotees are the abode of love. So if I want love for Krishna, I can only get it from those who have love for Krishna. And who has love for Krishna? The devotees have love for Krishna. So Lord Nityananda is saying, you want to steal the property of love of Krishna without going through the devotees of Krishna? You want to approach the Supreme Lord directly? Then you are a thief. Then you are a thief. So now you have come to me, or you have come to us. This is the right way. That you go to Lord Chaitanya through a devotee. And then that time Lord Nityananda blessed Raghunath Das by placing his lotus feet on his head. And then after that, Raghunath Das was successful to enter into the association of Lord Chaitanya. Before that, he would try, but he would fail. Every time he was caught and brought back to the house. And he was not able to go to Jagannath Puri. And this time, when Lord Nityananda blessed him, all the obstacles got cleared and he was able to finally reach Jagannath Puri and be always with Lord Chaitanya, which was his most cherished desire. So here the point is that the supreme abode, the abode of the Supreme Lord is reached through the medium called Guru, spiritual master. The spiritual master has the key to the door of the supreme abode. Now, it's interestingly written in the book, there may be many entrances to a house, but the authorized entrance is the door. Only an intruder would try to enter the house through the window or some other opening. Similarly, one may try to enter Vaikuntha through an entrance other than the door, but that's not the right way. And the right way is to enter through the door, which is opened by the spiritual master who has the key to the door. Who has the key to the door. And if one doesn't go through that, one will be considered as an intruder, someone who has illegally entered into the space, right? And this is something which we should understand. I mean, if we are committed to the process of going back to Krishna, we should know the science of going back to Krishna. Most of the people in this world, they hate to accept a medium between God and themselves. They say, why not directly me and God, no in-between person? But they forget that's not the science of getting in touch with Krishna. Because Krishna is a very important person. And important people don't really get connected to you directly, right? They get connected to you through someone, via someone. So Krishna does that. He gets connected to us via someone who is very close to Krishna. So the Guru does that. He opens the door. Lord Nityananda is telling Raghunath, you did a mistake. Now because you have come to the right place, now you're blessed. And then he got success in entering to the pastime of Lord Chaitanya. So we understand Guru's position now. What is Guru doing? He's a coach, a spiritual coach. He's a coach. He acts as a coach. Coaching us into what? Now one may say, what do I really need to get trained into? One has to learn what I told in the beginning of the class, how to relate with, experience, feel, relish spiritual emotions. We don't know that. We don't know the art of that. And we have to go through that. And the spiritual master, because he has that pure love for Krishna, he can also train us into the science of pure love. He can teach us because he knows how to love Krishna purely. So he can teach us. He can coach us in that. He can guide us in that. Someone please read this, what you see on the slide. Yes, Anit Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Guru is a spiritual coach. Now, one may love the Guru, but one may not always like him because he is always showing the mirror to us. He is always reminding us about the areas where we need to work upon. He is supposed to help us come to that level of maturity that we know ourselves, how to help ourselves. Any teacher who tells us that he or she will give us the power without we working upon ourselves is a fake teacher. As a matter of fact, such person is not a teacher, but a cheater. Unfortunately, many people are cheaters and they want someone else to get them the Lord, or they want to have a guru who only speaks nicely to them, or they want to have a guru who does not force them, pressurize them, remind them, or coach them.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So we have to clear up our misconception about a spiritual master, a teacher, a guru. A guru is not someone who will just give nice sermons, nice lectures, nice talks, and then leaves on you. Whatever you want to take, you take. Whatever you don't like, you don't take. Right? That's not really a spiritual master. In the book, it is very nicely mentioned that there are saints or sadhus, and sadhus are different from gurus, because sadhus are those who will give you good advice. They'll show you the direction, but they'll not be behind you and take responsibility that you follow that path. But guru is like a coach. A coach means who? A coach is someone who will sometimes even slap you if you don't really get serious. Isn't that's a coach, right? If you want to get up early in the morning, you don't want to get up early in the morning, the coach will come and shout at you, come on, don't be lazy, get up, And sometimes that's why you may feel like even shouting at the coach. But then you don't, because that's for your good. Isn't it? That's for your good. In our temple, Mirror ISKCON, we have a devotee. Now he has recently entered into sannyas ashram. His new name is His Holiness Bhakti Karunamai Vanmali Swami Maharaj. Earlier was known as Vanmali Das. Very old devotees in his constant last 25 years. So Prabhuji was once telling to us this very interesting story. He was earlier into army. He was an army officer actually. So young day, when he was young in those days. So he was telling that when we went for army training, the army training was not given to us by very superior officers, high rank officers. Actually, the training was given to us by normal uh, army officers. They are not even soldiers with stars. They are just the normal rank soldiers. Okay, but because they have very rigorous training, discipline, they are the right person to give training to new candidates. So these people would train them, and they would be very rough with the new trainees. Sometimes even use slang words to uh, chastise them. Sometimes beat them. Sometimes kick them with the boot, and be very harsh with them. Make them run for kilometers and kilometers holding the gun on top of their head, which is quite heavy, right? And Vanmali Prabhuji, Maharaj was telling us, all these soldiers in their mind would actually hurl all kinds of curses upon these trainers, that when will that day come when you will die, when will that day come that you are sent here away from here. They would speak of all those things and imagine all those things. But then Maharaj told that, however, on the last day, when all these people would get trained, and when they would get trained, then they would be given 1 star. They would be given 1 star because they were trained as a superior army officer. They would get 1 star. So all these trainers would come and salute to the trainees, because now they are on a higher rank, and they would say, "We are sorry. We were supposed to do that. Not that we are your enemies. We are supposed to do that." And Maharaj was telling, on that day, though on the other days these people would speak so badly about them, on that day these all newly positioned ranked officers would cry, because they would know it's all because of you we are here now. It's because of you. If you would not have put all that effort into us, we would not have made to this point, isn't it? So a coach is something like that. You may not always like that person, but that person wants you good. So accepting a guru or spiritual master is accepting a spiritual coach. And more than us, that person is interested in sending us back to Godhead. More than us, that person wants us to make a swifter progress. More than us, that person knows that the path is difficult and you have to be serious. Isn't it? And that's why sometimes when we get lazy, when we get careless, when we are not so serious, that person may exhibit anger. That person may exhibit anger and may shout, may chastise. Possible, isn't it? So a disciple or a devotee will take it in that light, in that attitude, in that way. And then that experience will be a very blissful experience, because now this person is doing it out of genuine concern for me, not out of hatred. Not that because that person is going to get something out of it. Actually, I'm going to get the benefits. So this is another reason we will see that why such kind of, okay, now this question, again, something people find difficult to accept. What is that? Why does Guru speak strongly? Strongly means really strongly. Not always soft and sweet, Like sometimes some devotees tell me, I like to hear that person's lectures. And if I ask why, oh, that person is so soft and sweet. You feel the words are like rose petals falling on your eardrums. That's why we love hearing that person. So why does Guru speak strongly? There are so many who speak strongly. Some of them, they roar like a lion. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, spiritual master of Prabhupada, used to roar like a lion. And if you see Prabhupada also, I don't know if you hear the tapes of Srila Prabhupada, if you hear his lectures, English lectures, there are a lot of them. He is not a soft speaker. He is not a soft speaker. He is quite heavy, he's quite bold, he's quite blunt also sometimes, to the point, right? He says, I speak as if I'm cutting, I'm chopping. He says, I speak like that. So why it happens? Why the Guru speaks strongly? And so many people may not like that. They may be put off by that actually. So why it happens? Yes, Pankaj?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, so that we can cross over our false ego and continue with the spiritual progress.
Very good. So one point is they want to break the barrier of a false ego. Yeah. Second thing, someone put in the chat box, and that's also a very good answer. They want us to show urgency and take it seriously. Because of that, they speak strongly. Yes, Nityananda.
Because the Guru is a well-wisher, and he
Mm.
loves us, and he wants us to advance, and he wants us to come out of our complacency. That's the reason those strong words are required at times.
Yes, strong words are required because of that also. And Lord Krishna, what he did in Bhagavad Gita, he spoke strongly to Arjuna. Why? Because Arjuna was deeply fallen in lamentation, right? So sometimes when people are going through negative emotions very badly, you have to jerk them out of that, and to jerk them out of that, you can't be soft. You have to shake them up. And that is done through strong speech. But we should know that strong speech is totally in control. It's not done whimsically. It is fully in control. And if you look at Srila Prabhupada also, you read his book, read about his life, he would get very angry. Sometimes his disciples mention he would be so angry that they would really be afraid to go to him, But then his anger would evaporate immediately, right? So that anger was like a tool used when required and not used when not required. So they do that. Speaking strongly is not because they are aggressive. It's just that they want to speak with affirmation in an affirmative manner, not that they're aggressive. They're trying to emphasize that this is an important point, this is an important thing. You can't take it lightly or cheaply. And so they speak strongly. So chastisement is good. Please read here what Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj says. And it's very nice. He expressed this in a poem, a prayer. Someone can read it loud who has not read it yet. Okay. Shweta Mataji.
Chastisement is good. My dear Lord, I do not know what is good for me. You very well know what is good for me. Therefore, whether I like it or not, please do not listen to me and do that what is good for me, because that is my good fortune. Hare Krishna.
So this is the attitude of acceptance, that I don't know, but you know what is good for me. So you do that to me. Even if I don't like it, you do that to me. If I need to be chastised, you chastise me. If I need to be loved, you love me. Kunti Maharani says in a beautiful prayer, whatever it requires for you to make me fit to come back to you, do that to me. Whatever it requires for me to become fit to come back to you, you do that to me. So now the last lesson which you like to talk about. This is actually, when I read this book and I heard a lecture on this topic, that was the first time I heard about this concept. Before that, I never heard someone talking about it. You know, people always say, if you do a mistake, you ask for forgiveness. And then more than that, they will say, if you do a mistake, ask for a real forgiveness, means something from your heart, isn't it? But there was something in this book which I read much later, but which I heard about in the lecture. That was first time that I ever came across this concept, and that is called restitution. And what is that? It's nicely explained in the book. Very beautiful concept. A good example also given. Now you see, Raghunath Das did a mistake. Lord Nityananda told him, you are a thief. He punished him by, not really punished him, but gave his mercy by placing his lotus feet on his head. After that, what did Lord Nityananda tell Raghunath Das? You arrange for a feast for all the Vaishnavas. Okay. Now, why was that needed? Why there had to be a celebration? Just because Raghunath was successful, so party time, celebration? No, there is a reason behind it. What was asked for him to do is called restitution. And what is restitution? An example is given here. A very good example. Let's say a person, we are talking about devotees, let's say. Two devotees are staying together in a room. They are room partners. So one devotee, he doesn't have a mobile phone. And he needs a mobile phone for some work. So without taking permission of the other devotee, he, takes that mobile phone and goes somewhere out for talking, for whatever it may be. And meanwhile, this person who owns the phone comes into the room, frantically searching for the phone. Where is my phone? Where is my phone? I need to make an important call, an urgent call, right? Isn't it? So he doesn't find the phone, and he's now in so much of anxiety. Did I drop it somewhere? Did someone steal it? Who might have taken, right? And somehow other when this person comes to find that actually the other person who is my room partner took it for some reason, he may get a little angry also. You could have taken it. You could have taken my permission for that. I wouldn't have said no to you. So anyone does anything like that with you, even if you are a very pure-hearted person, still you will always think, at least you should have asked me, because you tried to create an obstacle, a disturbance in my service to Krishna. So you may get angry with that person. You may not like that behavior. Now this person may come back and feel very sorry about it and say, please forgive me. I'm sorry, I did a big mistake. And then the other devotee, out of kindness, may say, okay, I forgive you. Fine, what is done is done. You have heard people say this so often. What is done is done. Forget it. Forget it. It's done is done, right? Now, though people may say so out of their kindness, or maybe circumstantially they are speaking so, but talking from my experience, when someone does something like that, you may forgive that person, but next time you'll be very careful about that person. Isn't it? Correct? Isn't it? You may not hold any grudge towards that person, but what trust you had on that person in the first place, now you don't have that trust anymore. Isn't it? Now you are extra careful, which means what? Even though you have forgiven, the relationship is not the same as before. People may say, no, I have totally forgiven, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Somewhere in your heart, you start holding some reservations towards that person. No, I cannot really trust this person again. It happens, right? And it is quite genuine to think so, because otherwise that person may again cheat you or again do the same mistake. It happens. So now in that situation, asking for forgiveness is only bringing the relationship from negative to neutral. But it's not taking it to positive. It's not taking it to positive. How does it take it to positive? When that person not only asks for forgiveness, but then tells, because of my mistake, whatever loss you went through, I am going to help you come out of that loss. Right? Means what? He's ready to sacrifice now. He's ready to sacrifice now. And that will actually win the heart of the other person, and the person will really, really forgive that person, because you actually help that person come out of the problem, isn't it? Then you will really forgive that person, because this person seriously means it. He really wants to beg forgiveness, and he means it, because he's taking the pain to help me. So this is something which I learned, and it's a beautiful lesson for us to apply in our even day-to-day life. Don't just say sorry, you mean it. And when you say you mean it, it means that you do, that will show that you are really sorry, which means you help that person for the, for the trouble you might have caused to that person. You help that person come out of that trouble. It's very important. It's very important to do that. Srila Prabhupada, once he was with his secretary. The secretary writes down this pastime, His Holiness Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj. So what his secretary did, he wrote a letter, and in the letter below he wrote, please find the attached documents. Okay. So it was a letter, there were some attached documents to be sent, all put in an envelope. He just sent the letter, did not attach the documents. So Srila Prabhupada got a reply from there. We did not receive the documents. It's saying that there will be some documents attached. So Srila Prabhupada called his secretary. He said, you mentioned in the letter you will attach the documents, and then you did not attach the documents. How stupid of you. I mean, it's you who wrote, I'll attach the documents, and then you did not attach the documents. And the devotee was giving justification on justification, so many things to do, slip of mind, this, that. And the more he justified, the more Prabhupada got angry. The more the voice became louder and louder from Prabhupada's side, right? And this devotee was thinking, now what to do? If I give further justification, this is not going to settle. So what that devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, what I can do in this situation is, I'll write an apology letter to that devotee. I write an apology letter that please forgive me, I caused you great inconvenience. Now it has been a delay that you were supposed to get the documents long time back, but it's going to come late. But I write an apology letter and I'll resend the documents. And when Prabhupada heard that, he calmed down fully and he said, yes, do that. So here, Srila Prabhupada was waiting for that. Then don't just say sorry, don't just justify, you do the right thing. You do the right thing. Similarly, when we do a mistake, we have to do the right thing also to make it positive, isn't it? So when we are chastised by spiritual master, by some Vaishnava, we don't have to just say sorry, apologize. We also have to learn from it and do the right thing. That way we'll get the mercy of that person. We'll be blessed by that person. Like there's other stories also mentioned in the book. I'm not taking that now. We'll find incidents like that. That the Supreme Lord is telling the devotees, don't just say sorry. You go beyond that and you mean it by doing something for that person. That's called restitution. So when we do restitution, 3 benefits we get, which we don't get by saying sorry. Or we don't get by saying, please forgive me. What are those things? When you do restitution, it attracts the mercy of that person. Second, it purifies our own heart because we pay the price. It's very easy to say sorry. Right? Very easy. Some people say sorry thousands of times in a day, but they still continue to do the same thing. Right? It becomes, let's say, the most used word by them. Sorry for everything. Correct? But then they won't change at all. And third thing, if you do restitution, it protects us from doing the same mistake again or committing the offense again. Because now you paid the price, no? So you'll be very careful. You paid the price, so be very careful. And also you got some mercy from the other person. So here Raghunath Das did the restitution and he got blessed. Similarly, we in our relationship, when we get chastised, we have to also go through this. get the restitution done. And this will make the relationship very sweet with that person. Very, very sweet. And in that way, we grow in that relationship. So a heartfelt prayer, which shows the attitude of restitution. I'm sorry, my dear Lord, for long I have disobeyed you. For long I have neglected your good instructions. I have led a very sinful life, but now I wish to reform myself. I want to live a life of holiness. Please send me help. So when a person prays like that and showing, I mean it, I mean, my begging forgiveness from you, then the Supreme Lord sends help in the life of that devotee. And that help comes in the form of Guru, Sri Guru, spiritual master, who helps the disciple then go back to God. This chapter is beautiful. If you have not read it still, request you to go through that. I mean, this book is very small, very light in reading, in holding, both. So you can definitely take out time to go through it. And it has wonderful lessons. Every single line is so helpful. So we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, this restitution is something which has, I don't know, no words to describe. Something I learned beyond words.
I had
Thank you.
never heard
Thank
this
you.
word till the time I read this chapter. Time I've
Same.
heard this word.
Yeah. Same with me. I had never heard about this before I heard the lecture in which originally it was spoken about. And this was actually a concept which was revealed by His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj. That one must go beyond begging for forgiveness. Begging for forgiveness is a common thing. It's very common. And this is something, I mean, in India, it's not so commonly spoken about, but in Christianity, this is a very common thing. That you go to the church and you confess to the Lord and you beg forgiveness from the Lord. That please forgive me for my sins, but then you go back and continue doing the same sins. So begging for forgiveness becomes a kind of a fashion in the spiritual circle, that we just do it, right? But we don't mean it. Like, for example, now, why talk about Christianity? Talk about temples also. We live in temples and we see people will come to the temple, and as soon as they go in front of the Lord, oh, Bhagavan, my dear Lord, and they're doing something. I mean, whatever they're praying, they'll catch all of the ears. You must have seen people do, in India, catch all of their ears, and some people even go up and down, right? So they'll do all that, but then do they ever think, oh, I'm going to go back and now have, I'm going to eat a fish in my lunch, or I'm going to crack some eggs there, or I'm going to, eat something else, killing some life, They don't think about it. It doesn't cross their mind, isn't it? Right? Isn't it? The same person may be going back and doing so many wrong things, and it doesn't cross them that here I am praying for forgiveness, but I go back and do the same thing. So Maharaj, that's why I brought out this, point that just don't ask for forgiveness. You mean it, and when you mean it, you do something for it. And
Now,
then
every time we say sorry, now we'll have to think what can we do.
yeah.
It really
It's
sets
true.
us thinking.
You have to think, and if you do that, I'll tell you, if you do that, we'll experience this, that the relationship with that other person will be different. Now, as in Bhagavad Gita, it says, the way you react, that's how people will also react. So when someone does something wrong to us, we may very easily say, okay, I forgive you, but actually inside we don't. We are not going to take revenge, but as I said, we still don't have the same trust on that person. Isn't it correct? There is some reservation now because that person has broken your trust. Now, for that person to win that trust back, he or she has to do something. Similarly, if I have done something wrong to someone, it may be situational, it may be without any intention, but it has somehow or other spoiled the relationship. So I have to do go extra bit to reform it. It has to be done, isn't it? So it will help us in our material relationships, and it will also help us in our spiritual relationships. For long, it will take us to a long way in spiritual relationships.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare-
A small question, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, actually, my son is 14-year-old. I somehow taught him to say sorry, but now it is like he's saying 10 times in a day sorry, as you were saying, na? कि सॉरी बोलता ही रहता है, लेकिन बट वो सॉरी किस लिए बोल रहा है, मतलब कल सुबह से फिर से वही चीज उसको रिपीट करना होता है. So you know how to deal with such things. I think you can guide us something.
No, not that is, you see, because that's because of lack of maturity, you know. Is that person
Okay.
is
Okay.
that child is not thinking what he is saying. He
Yeah.
is
Yes,
just
Prabhuji.
speaking it out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's because he has been told to feel sorry, but he doesn't feel sorry.
Yeah, बस मुंह से वाह जाने दो ना माँ, sorry हो गया जा.
Yeah, so
That is
because he
what he convinces me like anything, you
no,
know,
he
Prabhuji.
doesn't feel it. He doesn't feel it. So
Yeah.
the thing is that we have to impart the value system. When that value system will come, then those feelings will come. When those feelings will come, then that genuine sorry will also come out.
Now
Right?
he's actually 14 years, Prabhuji. So should I be very strict or I should be lenient at that confusion? Because in our, matlab in my husband's side family, no one says sorry. कुछ भी हो जाए, कला भी काट देंगे. Sorry तो मुंह से निकलेगा नहीं. So I thought, अच्छा इसको तो सिखा दूंगी मैं sorry ये, लेकिन अभी ये sorry का गाना ही बज रहा है घर में. So you know, I don't know. It is okay to speak with you like this, but I'm really fed up of even hearing sorry, Prabhuji. That is also a problem. That's what. Yes, we need to make them realize. I think I should give him some more time. That's okay,
Yeah,
na?
you have to
Then,
give him more time. That it will take him time to realize. And you see,
okay,
it's
Prabhuji.
not easy. We should know one thing, not just
Hmm.
with your family or your husband side, whatever. So many
Hmm.
people
hmm.
in this world, they don't have these two words in their dictionary. Sorry and thank.
Yes. Huh.
They don't have.
True. True.
They don't
Yes,
have.
Prabhuji.
You know, even if you do a lot for them, they will never say thank you.
हाँ नहीं लॉट हो जाने के बाद भी मतलब वो चुप रह गए ना, that means अच्छा वो they are happy, you know.
Yeah, correct. But they will not
If they are not
express it.
shouting means we should understand that is what.
They'll not express it, isn't it? That's what
Yeah.
you're saying. They'll not express. They'll not express, and they will also not express sorry. So this is because, and you know, one more thing actually, there is another reason behind it. It depends on culture. Some cultures, they and people belonging to that culture are more expressive. And some culture and people belonging to that culture, they don't express, but they feel. You know, they feel, but they don't express. However, some people are very expressive. Like now, because we are in an international society, we do find people belonging to different countries have different, you know, levels or degrees of being expressive. Like if you meet people from Brazil, you'll find they are very expressive. You know, for every single thing they'll speak, you'll see a different emotion on their face. They're so expressive with their hands, with their face, with their eyes, you know. All of them, they're really, really expressive people. So they like to express all their emotions very openly, you know. However, it is seen in India, it is seen people are very reserved with their emotions. What is going inside, generally, they don't show it on the face. That's how people in India are generally, you know, mostly they are very reserved about emotions. They don't express. And this is one. Another thing is that people even don't know one thing, which is the science of a relationship. You know, we should understand one thing. Just by living with someone, you don't get into a relationship with that person. That is, you are just living together. Relationship means both of the people have to put efforts to enter into a relationship. Relationship means you understand each other. You don't understand each other just on gross platform. You understand each other even on subtle levels. You understand each other's likes and dislikes. You understand each other's temperament. right? You without the other person telling you, you'll read the mind of that person. That's called relationship. And to be able to enter into that relationship, it requires efforts for both the sides, both the people. Now, honestly speaking, people may be married, people may be boyfriend or girlfriend, people may be friends, people may be parents and children, people may be having any of these intimate relationships, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are actually into a deep relationship. It may be something very superficial, just living together, you know. So once I was in a training program, and that person told us something interesting. He said, living together can be either association or cohabitation. You know? And then he said that, like, for example, when you travel in a plane, in an airplane, you're all together, but then you are not together. You are just in the same space together. It's called cohabitation, right? Similarly, people may be living in one house, but may not be living together. It might be cohabitation. See, it may be possible in a relationship also. So people don't know the science of relationship. Relationship means you should learn to express the emotions when it's required. You should learn to say thank you when it's required. You should learn to say sorry when it's required. And because of those emotions only, the relationship remains fresh and rich. Otherwise, the relationship loses its flavor. It loses its flavor. It just shrivels, it weakens. People don't know that art, it has to be taught. And why people don't know that art? Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, people don't have subtle feelings and sentiments. People have become very gross. They have lost the finer sentiments. They have lost the finer sentiments. They have become very, very gross, you know, which people in the earlier days, 20, 30, 40 years ago had. People had sentiments in those days, now people don't. Like, you know, nowadays, it is very normal to see people and don't acknowledge their presence. Very normal. That you see people and you don't acknowledge their presence, means you will behave as if that person doesn't exist. It's very normal, isn't it? Right? Very, very normal. But I have seen this, I mean, from a culture where I was born and the community I was born, presence of another person, any person coming into your presence, the first thing is that you acknowledge that by greeting that person, by welcoming that person, by acknowledging that you exist. You do that. And when you do that, that person feels welcomed, a part of the whole place, you know. Otherwise that person feels, have I come to a wrong place? Am I not supposed to be here? You know. So a lot of impersonalism is there in the current society because of lots of materialism. So that's there, you can see in relationship, family relationship, this. But if people take to Krishna consciousness bhakti, then all these fine sentiments will gradually develop, because, you know, there will be purification of heart. The hard and the cold heart will become warm and soft, and then the fine sentiments will come out. It will happen.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the lecture. Actually, I knew about the Bhishma Pitama story, but I did not know actually that puzzle was going on in the mind since long, that why did Bhishma Pitama wanted Krishna to take the weapon and come. So today you just filled up that puzzle. You solved that puzzle. Thank you, Prabhuji. It was a wonderful class.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Prabhuji.
All right. Hare Krishna. We'll stop here. Thank you so much. See you next week. Again, a very interesting topic next week. We'll talk about 𝐸𝐴𝐾𝐿avya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavasana. Thank you for the wonderful class.